Okay, so what we're here to talk about today, this workshop is going to be going over kind of just best practices in general. And so we're going to talk about basically this is going to be like a covering everything in the job and how to maximize and make the most out of it. So we're going to talk about phoning and phoning best practices, when to call, who to call, how to call. We're going to talk about some best practices with your schedule and how to keep a schedule, how to manage your schedule. We're going to talk about recommendations and your names list and how to manage that. We're going to talk about closing. We're going to talk about communication guidelines, expectations, how to make the most of that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about money and how to manage your money and how to be smart with those things. So we're going to get started with that one. Um, all right. So, do both of y'all have the recommendation phoning approach? We're going to start off with phoning. I know I sent it to you, I texted it to you today. Victoria, do you have it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for. Is the script for it. If you guys want to pull it up. Um, Probably in your Google Drive. Let me see if I can print these off for you guys. Yeah, that's the one. Start. We're gonna role play a recommendation approach. Now, this is not for getting recommendations. This is calling recommendations. So here's one of the best skills that you can have in this job is phoning, is being able to call people and schedule them and book them for appointments. So part of that is handling objections. Part of that is using the right script. Um, the other part of that is just making sure that you have the right practices. So we're going to talk through a couple of things and then we're going to role play through it. So the recommendation approach, this is for calling people who you've been referred to. Now, there's really three different levels to your customers. There's people that you know, there's acquaintances, which are people that know of you and you know of them, but you don't have a relationship with. And then lastly, there's people that you don't know that you've been referred to. So there's level one, level two, level three. Level three is recommendations. Level two is acquaintances. Level one is people that you know. So in your fast start and when you're new at this job, we have you guys focus really heavily on people that you know. That's to get you confident at the job. That's to get you more comfortable. That's to build your practice and kind of get those first like little fear bubbles out of the way to help you get started. As you mature in the job, you start to see acquaintances, which are people that know of you and you know of them, but you just don't know them like super well. So it turns into those demos turn into like good practice where like you start to break outside of your comfort zone a little bit more. But it's still not people that you totally don't know. And then the third layer is people that you don't know that you've been referred to. And I would say that's the biggest challenge is just being able to create that relationship. And that's the most important part of demos like that is where you're starting to create that relationship and build rapport with those customers. So um, whenever you call the different layers, there's different scripts for each one. Layer one is people that you know, that script is in your manual. That's the training phone approach. Layer two is acquaintances. That script is also in your manual. It's where it builds a little bit more rapport, kind of catches up with them, and then it books the appointment. Layer three is this one, and it's not in your manual because this should be your last stop. Like you should try and stick to layer one and layer two as much as possible before moving on to layer three. So you always call layer one and layer two until you've done a demo with all of them, whether it's a callback, whether they don't answer and say, call me back later, or whatever. You always call those people until you get to layer three. Layer 3 is kind of the last layer because by that time you want to be like super confident. I've built your skill set and kind of have your flow. You got some good sales under your belts and things like that. So when you get to layer 3 with recommendations, the key for doing demos with recommendations is building off rapport. The key for booking appointments with recommendations is building rapport over the phone and giving them a little bit more education over kind of who you are and why you're calling. So people love helping people out. That's one core belief that you need to remember. People love helping other people out. Okay. People love helping people out, especially when they relate to them or when they're inspired by them or when they know that they can do something to help out. So when you call them, part of this approach is about letting them know how you got their number and building a little bit of rapport. So I'm going to read it out loud for you guys, just like as if I was on a call. So, hey, Mrs. Smith, this is Stephen. I'm not sure you know me personally, but I was talking to Mrs. Jones the other day, and she actually brought up your name. Did she tell you that I was going to be calling? If they say yes, okay, awesome. Well, Mrs. Jones and I we're talking, and your name came up, and she said that she'd be nice enough to help me out. So right now I'm a student at WT, studying business, and right now I'm working with a company to gain some business and some communication skills to help build my resume. So I also have a shot at winning a scholarship. Hey, Brooke. Hey, I put it on the front table. I put all your stuff there. Hi, what's up? Yeah, it's on the front table in there. No, we're in a workshop right now. To finish your interview, you can just use like both rooms. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Brooke. So right now I'm working with a company to gain some business and communication skills and build my resume. I also have a shot at winning a scholarship for school. My assignment is to show a product called Cutco to people I have been personally recommended to and just get your opinion on it. Also your opinion on me. Have you heard of Cutco before? No? Okay, no problem. Yeah, you definitely don't have to get anything because I get paid just to show it. And in order to stay on track for my scholarship, I need to do 15 appointments before Friday. So I was hoping that I could show you either today at 4:30 or maybe would 6 o'clock be better for you? Okay, so those times don't work. Okay, I could also do tomorrow on Wednesday at noon, or does 4:30 tomorrow work better for you? Okay, so 4:30 tomorrow. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Can I go ahead and get the email address to send you a reminder? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so Mrs. Smith, could you grab a pen and paper and just write down that I'll be there tomorrow at 4:30? Okay, awesome. Okay. Again, my name is Stephen Hunt. Our appointment's at 4:30 tomorrow. And if you could just draw a huge smiley face so you can recognize me, that'd be great. Just so you know, I have appointments back to back, and I'm working really hard to hit my goal to win the scholarship. So are you sure that time works for you? Okay, thank you so much. This helps me out a ton. I really look forward to our appointment on tomorrow at 4:30. Okay, bye. And basically that builds a little bit more rapport. That tells them what you're working for, and a lot of it is big for like a scholarship. It's big for working towards paying for school, and so it takes the pressure off of them knowing that they don't have to buy anything, but it also encourages them to help you out because they're friends, so that they would help you out, and it's their scholarship, and that makes it easy to book the appointment. And we don't really emphasize about like, oh, let's cut. Are you going to be interested? Now, you might think, well, I don't want to waste my time. Like, what if they're not interested? What if they're not in the market? What if they're this, that, whatever? That's why when you get the recommendations from Mrs. Jones, you ask them some questions like, hey, can you tell me a little bit about Mrs. Smith? Like, what does she do for work? And that's how you can figure out if it's a qualified customer. If somebody tells me, oh yeah, this is my daughter, she's in college, she's really sweet, she's going to help you out. Am I going to do a demo for her? No, I'm just going to scratch her off the list later because I'm like, okay, that's not going to be my right customer. But if she's like, oh yeah, this is my sister, she works as a nurse and she's got 3 kids, and yeah, I think she'd be good. I think she'd watch your appointment. That's like a prime time customer that I know that I'm not wasting my time. So if you want to, don't be selective when calling people unless you're asking your customer for details about your recommendations that you're getting, so that you're able to identify who would be a great customer or not. Now, anybody who's over 30 years old and has a job is going to be a great customer, somebody that's worth doing a demo for. So don't judge your customers, don't overdo it. This helps build that, and this helps build your schedule. Now, let's go through some of the, now, by the way, this this might sound a little bit different for each person. For example, whenever I was reading this, I never said the part about drawing a huge smiley face so you can recognize me. Like personally, that's just not my personality. Like I'm not necessarily like, I guess, silly like that. Like there's some other representatives who are just like super silly and happy and like whatever. And that comes off normal. And it's like, oh, wow, she's so sweet. But that just wasn't me. So I would skip that part and I would just kind of emphasize, like, by the way, this means a ton to me. Like I know it doesn't mean a lot to you, but it does mean a ton to me. So I really appreciate you helping me out. Like I would switch that up just because I added my own personality into it. Now I'd stick to the script because everything in here is really good, but you can add your own personality to it as well. Now there's common objections and responses. If they say, oh, well, we're really busy right now. We're about to go on vacation next week or this week. All you have to say is no problem. That's why I'll be in and out before you know it. Do you think you could be nice enough to squeeze me in either at 4:30 or would 7 o'clock be better for you? So basically you want to handle the objection because when somebody says, hey, I'm really busy, number one, if you haven't offered a time for them to look at yet, then that doesn't make sense. Like if I said, Victoria, you're going to be at the workshop this week? And you're like, no. My first assumption is, well, you don't even know when the workshops are. So how do you know if you're going to be at the workshops or not, right? So it's kind of the same thing for your customer where it's like, hey, are you free at this time? And they're like, oh, we're really busy this, or if you're like, hey, I was wondering if you could make an appointment with me. Oh, we're really busy this week. Well, you don't even know when my availabilities are. Like somebody says I'm busy this week. Does that mean that they're booked for every hour of the day? No, it just means they have a lot on their to-do list, but they always have 30 minutes for a nap in the day, right? They always have time to, sit on their phone and just like watch TikTok for a little while, whatever. Like, when somebody says I'm busy, don't take that as Bible. Don't take that as like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, they have no time. Very, very few people are like that. And the people who are like that are the hardest to book, but the best customers to do demos for. Because if they're super busy, it's probably because they work a lot. If they work a lot, it means they make a lot of money and they don't want to waste their time with crappy products of like quality. People who work a lot and make a lot of money like quality products. So those are always your best people. So anytime somebody's busy, don't let them go. Like don't let it go. Either schedule a demo or schedule a time to call them later. So if they say I'm busy, just say no problem. I can make it super quick. I'll be in and out before you know it. Do you think you could squeeze me in either at 5:30 or 7 o'clock? Okay, and you offer some times. Using the word "could you squeeze me in" is great verbiage because it in their mind it just imagines fitting you in. They might say, hey, get back to me in a week. Hey, I can definitely do that, Mrs. Jones, but I'm in this huge contest and I need to complete 15 appointments by Monday to get my goal. So for that, you can say, I can definitely do that, Mrs. Jones, but I'm in it. I'm working towards a scholarship and I need to do 15 appointments to hit my goal by Friday. You always schedule it. You always set a goal 3 days out and you set a demo goal. You don't set a sales goal. Don't say I'm trying to sell 10K. I'm trying to sell 5K because then that makes it about the sales. Because then what is their response? I'm not going to buy anything. So then it's like, why do you want to book the appointment with it? So you always have an appointment goal, not a sales goal. I want to do 15 appointments by Friday. Is there any way you can squeeze me in before then? That's a great way to do that. If they say, hey, I'm not interested, I'm not going to buy, just say, hey, that's great. You actually don't need to be interested. I get credit just for showing you really quick. Plus you'd be helping me out big time with my goal. Could you squeeze me in on Friday or would Saturday be better for you? If they say, oh, I've seen the demo 100 times, hey, that's great. You could probably do it better than me. But all I have to do is just stop by and cut the rope, leather, and some pennies, and you can give me a quick pointers. It'd really help me out. So would 5:30 or 8 o'clock be better for you? So it's basically just like handling objections, saying, hey, I understand. You don't have to be interested. Hey, if you've seen it 100 times, I'd love your pointers and your tips. That would be awesome. And a lot of those times, those are great customers to go show the product to. So
every time we say that, they respond to each of these.
Basically. Yeah, basically. I mean, if somebody said, hey, I'm really busy, and I said, no problem, I can make it super quick, I'll be in and out before you know it. Do you think that you could squeeze me in either at 5:30 or 8 o'clock? And they say, well, I'm not interested in buying. I say, oh, that's great. You actually don't need to be interested. I'd get credit just for showing you real quick, and you'd be helping out big time with my goal. So do you think you could fit me in this week on Friday, or would Saturday be better? Well, I've actually seen the demo 100 times. Oh, that's totally fine. You probably do it better than me. What I'm supposed to do is just stop by, cut the rope, cut the leather, cut the penny, and then maybe you could even give me some pointers. Plus, it helped me out a lot towards my scholarship. Do you think Friday or Saturday would work for you? Well, can you just get back to me next week? Yeah, I can definitely do that, Mrs. Jones. However, like I said, I do need to complete 15 appointments by Friday. So is there any way that you can squeeze me in before then? If not, I can definitely give you a call later. So like, I'm not trying to like be pushy. I'm not trying to bug them. I'm not trying to be pushy, but I am trying to be, I guess, assertive and like make sure they know that there's a goal and handle their fear bubbles. Because if it's like, well, because again, most of the time people want like majority of the time people want to help people. And so if somebody has one of these fear bubbles or these problems, then it's pretty easy to handle them just with these simple responses. So take practice, and there's a certain skill set of phoning. So any questions on this? Okay, let's role play through it twice each, and if you're the customer, give one of those objections. Okay.
This is actually really crazy, but I was thinking, that, that day, about your neighbor, did she tell you I would be calling? Sorry, I must have beat her to it. So, do you have a quick second? Alright. Well, Victoria and I were talking, and your name came up because she said you'd be nice enough to help me out. I'm a student at WT studying business right now. I'm working with a company to gain some business and communication skills and build my resume. I also have a shot at winning a scholarship for school. So my assignment is to show a product called Cutco that people have been personally recommended to get to get your opinion on it. And also on me. Have you ever heard of Cutco before? Definitely don't have to get anything. I'm gonna tell it. Tell it about Coco.
No, that's fine.
All right, no problem. You definitely don't have anything. I mean, you don't have to get anything because I get paid just to show it. In order to stay on track for my goals, I need to do 15 appointments before Friday. So I was hoping I could show you on Thursday at 4:30 or when 5:30. Uh, you grab a pen and paper, write your name down, and again, my name is Rodney. Our appointment is at 4:30. No, yeah, 4:30 on Thursday, correct?
Yes.
You can. All right, so just so you know, I have appointments back to back, and I'm working really hard to hit my goal. So are you sure that time works for you? Thank you so much. This helps. Really.
Yeah, you can try that out.
No problem. Victoria, that's why I'll be in and out before you know it. Do you think you'd be nice enough to squeeze me in either at 6:30?
That's interesting.
That's great. You don't need to buy any. Like, that's great. You don't need to be interested. I get credit just for showing you real quick. You would be helping me out big time. Could you squeeze me in Thursday? 8?
Yeah, that'd be good. Hey, Rodney, Victoria, I'm not sure if you know me personally, but I was talking to Miss Jones the other day and she brought your name up. Did she tell you I'd be calling?
No.
I must have beat her to it. Do you have a quick second?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Rodney, I was talking. Rodney, Miss Jones and I were talking. Your name came up because she said you'd be nice. I'm actually studying nursing right now, and I'm working with a company to gain some business and communication skills to build my. Also have a shot at winning a scholarship for school. My assignment is to show a product called Cupcake to figure out how to into and get your opinion on it and also me. Have you ever heard of Cupcake before?
No.
Okay, no problem. You definitely don't have to get anything because I get paid just to show it in order to stay on track for my scholarship. So I was hoping I could show you on Thursday at 4:30 or Friday at 5:30, which would be better.
Oh, can you get back to me in like a week?
I can definitely do that, Rodney, but I am in this huge contest and I need to complete 15 points by Friday. Is there any way you can squeeze me in before?
We see that demo.
That's great. You'll probably be better at it than, you'll probably do better at it than me, but all you have to do is stop. All I have to do is stop back at the rope, the other end to me, and we can give me some pointers. This would really help me out. So would Thursday at 4:30 work better for you than five? I think that's fine. Okay, could you please grab a pen and paper and write down, that I'll be going there Thursday at 5:30. Again, my name is Victoria. Our appointment is on Friday at 5:30, correct?
Yes.
Just so you know, I have appointments back to back and I'm working really hard to hit my goal, which is to win a scholarship, so are you sure that time works for you? Thank you so much, this helps me a ton, I'm really looking forward to our appointment on Friday at 5:30.
One more time.
Yes, sir.
That's ah. Hey, Lord, this is Ryan. I'm not sure you know me personally, but I was talking to Miss Jones the other day. She brought your name up. Did she tell you we would be calling?
I think she did.
Okay, well, that's great. And and I were Miss Jones and I were talking. Cause she said you'd be nice enough to help me out. I'm a student at 17 studying business right now. Working with the company to gain some business and communication skills and build my resume. I also have a shot at winning a scholarship. My assignment is to show the product or couple of the people I have to personally recommend it to get your opinion on it. And also, have you heard of Cutco before?
I think I have.
It's great. You definitely don't have to get anything because I get paid just to show it to you. And in order to stay on track for my goal, I need to do 15 appointments by Thursday. I mean by Friday. So I was hoping I could show you on Wednesday at 3:30 or Wednesday at 4. You don't get.
I think I've seen it done before.
That's great. You could probably do it better than me. All I have to do is stop by and cut the rope, leather and penny. You can give me some pointers. It will really help me out. So with Wednesday at 6:30 or 7:30 be better?
I could do Wednesday at 6:30.
Great. And Victoria, could you grab a pen and paper and write it down? And again, my name is Rodney. Our place is at Thursday. Correct.
Yes.
Just so you know, I've been training back to back and I'm working really hard to hit my goal, get a scholarship. So are you sure this time works for you?
I'm not interested.
That's great. You don't need to buy, you don't need to be interested. I get credit just for showing you. Real quick. You will be helping me out big time with my goals. So could you squeeze me in on Thursday at would that be better?
Yeah, we could do Thursday at 7:30.
I bet. Do I read that? Oh, okay. So thank you so much. That helps. I'm really looking forward to our appointment at 30 a.m.
Hey, Rodney. But I'm not sure if you can proceed with the other thing she brought your name, but she tell you I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Miss Jones and I were talking and you came up because she said you'd be nice enough to help me out. I'm a student at UC studying nursing right now. I'm working with a company to gain some business and communication skills for my resume. I also have to try to get scholarship for school. My son is to show a product called Cutco to people I've been personally recommended to. And to get the community knowledge and also the other way.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to get anything to show. The way to stay on track with my goal for my scholarship. I was due 15 appointments by Friday. I was hoping to show you on Wednesday or Thursday at 4:30. Which time would be better?
Get back to you.
I definitely could do that, Rodney, but I am in this huge conference and I need to complete 15 appointments by Friday. Is there any way you could be squeeze me in?
See the demo.
That's great. You're probably doing better than me. All I have to do is have that type of learn a lot of need and it's information. It really helped me a lot. So with
Friday.
okay, sounds great. Could you grab a pen and paper and write down Friday at 4:30?
Yeah,
Again, with me, Miss Victoria, our appointment is on Friday at 4:30, correct?
right?
Just so you know, I have appointments back to back and I'm working really hard to meet my goal. Are you sure that time works for you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. This helps me out a ton. I'm looking forward to our appointment on Friday at 4:30.
Okay, cool. Feel better about the recommendation approach? Yeah. The yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you try and just like wing it, it's more awkward, it's more difficult. So yeah. Okay, awesome. Nice job. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna talk about is your schedule. So how to maximize having a schedule. So first of all, first thing about having a schedule, you got to have a schedule. So what our office uses outside, once you're outside of the Vast Start, is Google Calendar. Google Calendar is the best way to keep track of your time and to manage your time. Your calendar is a budget for your time and energy. Just like a budget, a written budget is a plan for your money. A calendar is a plan for how you're going to spend your time. So the reason why that's so important is because if you want to, if you ever feel stressed, if you ever feel like you don't have enough time in the day, it's probably just because you don't know where your time's going. It's kind of like if you keep looking at your savings account or your checking account, and you're like, where'd my money go? Why, like, where'd all that money go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Most of the time, we just don't know where our money's going because we don't have a plan for it and we don't see where it goes. So time is the same thing. Your calendar is your budget for your time, and you need to budget it. You need to say, okay, this is the amount of time set for school this week. This is when I'm doing homework. This is when my due dates are. This is when I'm working. This is whenever I'm, hanging out with friends. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I can only hang out with friends from 7 to 10 p.m. on Friday night. You can be a little bit more lenient, but you need to know when that time is. So for example, what I do is I have my days. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are church days. Sunday's also a church day. Sunday afternoon after work is a church day. Hey Lily. Sunday after church is a work day, and then after work that day, then it's friends or girlfriend or like relationships and things like that. So I budget my calendar, and I know that off the top of my head because I've been doing this for a long time. What you should do as part of best practices as a representative is set aside 3 times a week to go into your calendar and plan the next 3 days. So if I were you, I would do one on Sunday. I would do one on maybe Wednesday, and then I would do another one on Thursday, or maybe like Tuesday and Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So every other day, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. On Sunday, you plan out your Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. On Tuesday, you plan out your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Thursday, you plan out your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you do that every couple of days. If you do it 2 to 3 times a week, what you're going to find is that you're working ahead on your assignments, you're working ahead on your work, you're planning ahead. And when you plan ahead, you plan to win. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's a famous, self-help quote. If you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. So the best thing that you can do for yourself as a student, as a individual, as a soon-to-be adult in this world, well, you guys are adults, but as you're growing into that adulthood, having a calendar is going to set you light years ahead of everybody else. And whenever I say ahead, what I mean is like peace of mind, right? If you're in a competitive work industry, then your ability to complete assignments. If you struggle with procrastination, then this isn't going to cure your procrastination, but what this will do is it's going to make sure that you don't miss an assignment because you procrastinated. Like you can, so if you're in school, what I would do is I put in when your due dates are for all of your assignments. That way, it's coming up. Even if you procrastinate to the very last day, at least that's my last day to do it and get it done. Otherwise, I'm going to fail that exam or whatever. So your calendar can be your lifeline. I remember whenever I was in New Rep, I thought having a calendar was lame. I was like, that's for old people. Like having a calendar is so boring. Like get a life. But then I realized that by having a calendar, I do have a life. I'm able to be involved at church. I'm able to be involved heavily at work. I'm able to be involved with friends. I'm able to have a girlfriend. I'm able to talk to my family and do all the things that I want to do in my life because I've budgeted my time. So for example, Mondays and Fridays and Saturdays are my heavy work days. Those are the days where I'm doing like tons of work and I'm working all day. What that allows me to do is Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays are like medium work days. I have some work stuff, I have some church stuff, right? Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Those are my church and work days. Wednesdays are like my total day off. I don't have to do anything. If I want to work, I can. If I want to hang out with friends, I can. If I want to sleep until 12 o'clock, which I never do, I could though, if I wanted to. If I wanted to sleep in, if I wanted to wake up early and, whatever, like it didn't matter because Wednesday is like that day where I don't have to do anything because I budgeted my time that way. I work for more than 40 hours a week. I'm at church for more than probably 10 hours a week. I'm with my friends and family and girlfriend all the time, whenever I want to be, because I budgeted my time. So best practices, plan the next 3 days. Every other day, every 3 days, every 2 to 3 days, plan the next 3 days, and don't just plan today. Don't wait today. Don't wait till today to plan today. I planned my work day and today 2 weeks ago. So I knew what I was going to do today 2 weeks ago. And I know what I'm going to do 2 weeks from now on this day, 2 weeks from now, because I've been able to do that. So what I want you guys to do, start looking ahead. What do I need to accomplish this week? And that's going to help you create a plan and make things happen for yourself. Okay. It's going to help you stay organized. It's going to help relieve and reduce stress. Any questions on scheduling, best practices and habits? Yeah. Have you started using Google Calendar?
I had like so he never plans. He's gonna go.
Yeah. 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 I did too. And I never got anything done. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, once you get out of your fast start, we're going to get you onto Google Calendar, which is like a free service. It's awesome. Been using it for years. Next thing really quickly, because I know you have to go in a second. Recommendations and names list. Part of just like you're budgeting your time on your calendar, you also are kind of budgeting your names with how many recommendations in your names list. So when I say budgeting, I mean, really the word I'm looking for is organizing. Like stay organized so that you don't have to waste time when it's time to call people for an appointment. You don't have to flip through all your pages and say, okay, where is this person? Where's this person? What about that person? Did I call that person? I don't know. I know it's very unorganized. It's not super efficient. The best way to be efficient and the best way to organize your calendar is to have a spreadsheet of all of your names or a piece of pen and paper. This is what I did for years before I moved to a spreadsheet. I had my notebook and I had a master names list with their name, their phone number, and who referred them. And then I would make notes, call back the 5th, call back on the 2nd. When I booked them, I would cross them out. And I would make little notes next to them so that I knew, who I call, when I call. This was early on. This was young Representative Stephen. Like this was brand new Stephen. And, I was keeping track of these people when I call them, when I book them, things like that. So you need to be organized so that you don't have to wonder like, oh, when did I call that person? What did they say? How did that conversation go? Because the bigger you build your name list, the harder is going to be to remember those things off the top of your head. So ideally, I eventually graduated from a notebook to a spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet, I kept track of their name, phone number, who referred them. And then I also kept track of like, what was their status? In other words, did I book them? What did they say whenever I last called them? I'd keep notes. That way I could keep track of it. And then I coordinated it too, so that if somebody was booked, they were green. If I called somebody, they didn't answer, they were yellow. If I called somebody a couple of times, then they were blue, right? Like I was able to stay organized with that. And so that's really, really key. You need to keep your names list, which your names list is your number one resource. Yeah. Yeah. Things to remember. Like think about this. This is your customer base. Imagine you started a business where you sold your favorite clothes or your favorite shoes or your favorite whatever. And you wanted to retain that clientele so that they buy again and again and again. Well, part of that is creating those relationships where you know their birthdays and you know what they do for work and you remember little notes and ideas about them. So that's a great thing from Brooke that you could learn from her. Is like, okay, Imagine if every single one of my customers got a birthday text every time it was their birthday. For me,
Yeah.
right? How loyal are they going to be to you? Right.
Me too.
Yeah, they're going to love you because they realize that to you, it's more than just a transaction. So it's about that relationship. So stay organized. Stay organized with your time, stay organized with your names list. And at a minimum, you don't have to do birthdays, but at a minimum, name, number, who referred them, and the notes on the last call. So I hope you have a good day at school today. Thanks for coming in. See ya. Okay, so the next best practices tip that we're going to talk about is look at that. Thank you. There we go. Is closing. So best practices for closing. So the biggest keys for closing, there's a couple of things. One of the biggest things that gets overlooked is writing things down, writing the numbers down like we talked about in training. So if you forget to write the numbers down, it's a lot harder for a customer to be able to make a decision because they don't see it on their paper. So if you're not doing this, then don't expect to close. It's a lot harder to close when you're not writing the numbers down for customer to visualize and see. This is so important. I did this on nearly every appointment. Even if I didn't get recommendations like this one, I still wrote it down on pretty much every appointment that I could. It helps the customer keep track and stay close. Now I only went to here because they bought the signature set, so I had to stop there, right? So these are just some examples of what writing down the prices does and how it helps. Okay, so number one, best practices for closing. Don't forget the fundamentals. Number two, for closing, the other thing that you can remember for closing is don't forget to ask for confidence and don't be afraid to make a deal, right? Making a deal is not a bad thing. If you want to give them stuff for free, if you want to give them a discount, we can do those things, but make sure that there's really two things. Know your stuff, right? Know your options, know what are the deals that you can offer? What are the deals that you can show them to make them a better deal? So you need to know your things. Now, for you, Rodney, we haven't taught you that yet. So there's a couple of things that there's a couple of things that we still need to teach you. But with closing deals, part of it is like know what your options are. In my mind, here's the drop down process of my options. Let's say on a homemaker set. Okay, so if I want to make a deal on the homemaker set, I can do one of a couple of things. I can do a half trade-in. Okay, I could do a full trade-in. I could do an alternate buy now bonus. I could do a charge the rep deal. I could do half now, half later. There's a lot of options. Yeah, there's a lot of options to closing deals that's gonna help you with the customer. So that's why coming to these workshops are so important, because when we have a workshop on closing, we're going to talk about all those programs. So definitely come to every workshop that you can, so that you catch all those things. So again, a half trade-in is where you able to discount the cost of the set and still give them stuff for free. A full trade-in is where you don't give them anything for free and you're able to discount the set tremendously by a couple $100. They get to save like $300 on a full trade-in discount. On the alternate buy now bonus, you can change what they want for free, what they get for free for something else. So there's lots of options. So my best tip for closing is know your stuff. Come to the workshops and come learn the confidence that it takes to do that closing. The next thing that I want to talk about with best practices is communication. Communication is key for success here. When we send out announcements and things in GroupMe, it's so important to stay informed and to remember and to see what those are like. So what I would tell everybody, check it twice a day. Now, if you think about it, I remember when my manager told me to do that, I was like, you want me to check the group chat twice a day? That's so much. Like, what the heck? I just didn't have a great attitude about it. But the reality is, okay, if I just check it in the morning, check the announcements, and then check it at night, check the announcements for the day, I stay informed, I remember it. And also never mute the GroupMe. The GroupMe is there for your benefit. It's not there to bug you or to bother you. It's never ever mute the GroupMe. That's like the golden rule about the GroupMe is like never mute it, because if you do, you'll probably miss something, and that you'll probably miss something that you wish you would have heard. Okay, so communication in GroupMe is key. Always dropping your sales, always dropping hot news, like you got 10 recommendations, you got 15 recommendations, you got 50 recommendations, you just hit your second promotion, third promotion, things like that. Like those are all hot news communications that is cool. Other forms of communication. I always share the story about Kristen T. Fertiller because she is now the #1 selling rep in our office of all time. She's even sold more than I have personally. And she's the first one to ever do that. When Kristen was just getting started with our job, she did the same thing every day for 2 months, for the first 2 months that she was here. Every single day, she'd call me in the morning around 8:30 in the morning and just let me know her schedule for the day. That was it. That was the first thing that she did. The second thing is, on every appointment that she had, she would call me in the middle of the appointment at the homemaker set and say, hey, Steven, this is what my customers said. This is kind of where I'm at in the demo. Here's what I think I should do. What do you think? And I would either coach her, help her, give her some confidence, and give her a pep talk, whatever. And she did that every day for 2 months. And it wasn't just doing it for 2 months. She did that until she was almost over like 30K in career sales. I think she was at 20 or 25K in career sales when she finally kind of stopped doing that. She constantly checked in with me because she wanted to make sure that she was doing everything right. And I don't think it's any coincidence that she built such a strong foundation. And today she's over $170,000 in personal sales. She's also led an office that did another $40,000 or $50,000. So she's over $220,000 in career sales. And she started off with the right foundation. She sold over $25,000, maybe $30,000 in her first 2 months on the job. She was doing anywhere between 2 to 4 appointments every day for those 2 months. So imagine, making $8,000 in your first 2 months on the job. That was basically what Kristen did. And what was one of the key, consistent factors that made her different? Her communication. She made sure that she communicated really clearly with me, with our coaches, with our assistant managers. She was hungry to learn and eager to quickly become the best. So communication is everything. It's like talking to your coach after a bad play. Like, hey, what could I have done differently? What would I have gotten better? The next time you're in that situation, you know what to do. And it's just a really big thing. So communication and me, with our assistant managers, building relationships here, that's like key for long-term success. And I think that's one of the best things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Any questions on closing or communication?
On the closing part, how do you get stuck on when they, I don't know how to explain it. They want something, they'll change their bar real fast. So decisive.
Yeah. How do you get a customer to be more decisive?
Yeah.
I would say the biggest thing is make sure that you're asking them, hey, would you like to go and get this set? Would you like to go and get this option? Make sure you ask for the order. The second thing is when you overwhelm them with too many options, you show them everything all at once, or you show them everything and don't get a set answer. If they're like, well, let me see the next option, and they don't give you a yes or a no on that option, well, then that's just creating more options for them to be indecisive about. The goal is that we show them the homemaker and we get a yes or a no. And if it's a maybe, then we're gonna offer them a better deal on that set so that maybe can turn into a yes. And if it's still a no, if it's still a let me think about it, well then we're gonna drop down and show them something else. And then it's the same thing, like Gally said, yes or no. If it's a maybe, we'll offer them a better deal. If it's a yes, then we'll close the deal. If it's a no, then we'll drop down to the starter sets. If we get to the starter sets and they're like, well, I don't know which one I like this, just say which one would you see yourself using the best. And based on that one, that's going to be their favorite one. And you tell them the price. And then again, if it's a maybe, then you give them a better deal. If it's a yes, you close the deal. If it's a no, drop down to the pieces. And if they try and work their way back up and they're like, well, if I were to get anything today, I want this set. So I don't want any of these specials. That's when you offer a better deal on that option.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, what kind of deal? How good can I make it? That's why you call me. That's why you call me to help you with closing some deals and creating deals, basically. So, what else? Oh, so tell me one of the situations that you had a customer be indecisive.
I did a lot.
Mhm.
We did the homemaker plus it said she said she wanted it. And she was like, let me see what else you got. So I showed her,
Mhm.
Gally said, and she was like, oh, that was smaller. I like that one.
Mhm.
She was like, I don't know if I want it right now. So I was like, okay. Then we dropped to the little sets.
Mhm.
She was like, hey, I got a whole bunch of sets.
Yeah.
And she was just, I don't know which one I want. I don't know which one I want.
Yeah.
Then she didn't
Right.
find nothing.
Yeah.
She didn't know what she wanted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So if somebody says, hey, I want to get the homemaker set, but let me see the rest of your options, like I say, I can definitely show you but just so I know, on a scale of 1 to 10 with the homemaker set, where you at? Like 1 being you don't want to get it, 10 being like, I'm gonna buy it today. And I just say, it's just like to kind of get a gauge. And if they're like, oh, like if it's anywhere between like a 1 to 6 or 1 to 5, then it's like, okay, I don't think that they're really interested in the homemaker set. I think they just like it. So I'm gonna drop down to the galley and try and sell them on that. If they say, oh, like I'm a 6+ on the homemaker set, then I'm gonna double down. I'm offer them a better deal. Hey, Mrs. Jones, so I can definitely show you the rest of our sets. However, our homemaker set is our most popular set and everybody loves it. If I were to give you a better deal on this option, would you at least consider getting it today? And if they say, well, what kind of deal? Then I'm going to give them the deal that I could show them and then say, so would you like to go ahead and get this option today? And if they say, I'd still like to see your other options, then I'm going to leave the homemaker in the dust and say, okay, most people, everybody loves the homemaker, but most people get started out with one of these other sets that I'm about to show you. So I'm going to show you our galley set and then I'm going to drop down and then I'm going to show her that one. And she's like, oh, I really love that one. Let me see what else you got. I can definitely show you, Mrs. Jones, what else I have. However, the galley set is a really popular option. And, I just wanted to, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, would you like to go and get this option today? And if she says no, then again, chalk that off the list, right? You're getting your answers. Yeah. If she says yes, then great. If she says maybe, then offer a better deal. If I could get you an awesome deal on this option that you love, would you consider getting it today? And if it says, well, what kind of deal or yes, then you show them the deal. If they say no, you drop down anyways. So you got to get a yes or no. And when somebody says, can you show me what else you have? Then I always say, yeah, I can definitely do that. However, our homemaker is our best option. It's everybody's favorite. So let me ask you this. If I could offer you a better deal on the homemaker set, would you consider getting it today? Yeah. 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 Yeah, you don't want to overflow somebody with too many options because if you do, then that's where that situation comes into play where people are like, yeah, exactly.
She gave me a lot of recommendations.
That's good. That's good. And that's going to be a great customer to follow up with.
I saved like a few orders for her.
Okay, good. Yeah.
It'd be good. So
I would follow up with her by the end of your fast start for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
That's people.
Awesome. All right, last thing to talk about. Let's talk about money and some best practices for money. So one of the best things that I did whenever I started this job is I went and opened up a new checking account and I got a secondary debit card. So I had 2 debit cards. I had a debit card for all my stuff that I would do like personal stuff. And then I got another debit card that I would specifically use for anything work related. So it allowed me to like go into the app and see where all my expenses for work were going and see all my personal expenses. So I was able to track and manage both my personal expenses and then the expenses that I use for stuff for demos and things like that. And so like if I went to the grocery store and bought produce to go cut on a demo, or if if anytime I bought gas, I used my work card. It just allowed me to kind of categorize where I was spending my money. So that's a big tip. It's free to open up a secondary checkings account, go get a secondary debit card and do that. Yeah. And that way you use one for personal and one for anything demo or work related. Then the other thing that I would do, and this is kind of like, so what I always want our people to have is to have cash is king. So the more money that you have saved and the less debt that you have, the better position and more power and confidence you have. So the first thing is building up an emergency fund. So it depends on where you're at in life. Everybody's emergency fund might look differently. For most adults who have a mortgage or have an apartment or who live day to day and pay their own bills, $1,000 is a pretty baseline emergency fund. If somebody still lives at home and they don't pay rent, then it might be $300, it might be $500. But for most people who are kind of out on their own, $1,000 is like the baseline emergency fund. So now I'm not a financial advisor, but what I am saying is like, okay, best practices, this is kind of based on what I've learned in my personal experience and also based on Dave Ramsey's plan. And like Dave Ramsey is a financial advisor, has a financial advisory and wrote many, many books about it. So what he talks about is having $1,000 saved up as a bare minimum until you get all of your debt paid off. Now, when you pay off all of your debt, then you can start saving more cash to have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund where you might have 3,000, 5,000. $8,000 saved up in emergency fund, and that money is money that you don't spend. That's like emergency only. Like that's literally just money to sit on. You don't use it for rent. You don't use it for personal expenses. You don't use it if something comes up and you're like, oh, I got to buy a tire. You don't dig into that. You just go make more money. That's for like, oh, I broke my leg and I got to pay medical bills.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't, this really saved me at an important time in my life where work was going really good and I had a bunch of money saved up and my car broke down. I went home for Christmas and then my car just stopped starting. My car just stopped starting. So I was able to just go buy another car in cash. I just paid cash. I had never had a car payment, didn't have to go through any debt collectors or not debt collectors, but any like mortgage lenders, anything like that. I just went and bought it for cash because I had the money saved up. That's like an emergency situation where I needed a car to get back home, get back here to Amarillo. I didn't have a car, but I had the cash so I could go buy a new car. So that's what I did. So that's where having money set aside for emergencies like that are a great, I didn't expect that to happen. I wasn't planning on buying a car, but I needed to, and I made it happen. So all that to say, part of best practices for money habits is setting aside that money to get to $1,000 in emergency fund. And the best place to put that is in a high yield savings account is what that does. That's basically, it's a free account where you can set up an account with a high yield savings where it'll give you anywhere between 3 to 5% interest on your money. So for example, if you had $1,000 set in there at the end of the year, you'd have $1,030. So it gives you 3% on for just letting it set there. So if you had $10,000, it'd be $10,300. So the more money that you put in, the more interest that you earn, and it's just free money that's collecting over time. So putting an emergency fund into a high yield savings account or a management account with Vector. So with Vector, we have savings accounts where you can set aside your money for future investments, like investing into your own business with us or investing into your own office and things like that. So we have programs where you can set aside money so that you can invest into your own office, which will then, it's an investment. So it's going to pay you way more money back. So for example, the first time that I ran a branch office with our company, I set aside probably $3,000. I invested $3,000 of my own personal money into my office whenever I opened up. Now the company gave me $6,000 to start, $6,000 to help me get started. I also invested $3,000 of my own money to get started. So totally that summer, I paid about $9,000 in expenses to for my office and to basically start my business, and that includes most of like my personal rent and things like that too. So I probably spent about $9 to $10,000 that summer to go branch. Now the money that I made back was over $40,000. I made $40,000 that summer as a branch manager. So that investment of my own $3,000 did more than 100% return, maybe 1,000% return, because $3,000 turned into $40,000 for me. And that was my own personal investment. So you can either set it aside in a high yield savings account, or you can set it aside in a management fund where you can set it aside for future investments with our company. That's your money. If you ever want to pull it out, it's yours. Like you can pull it out at any time, but it's just another way to like set aside money for your future so that you're saving money and not spending it. The best practice that I've learned, especially as a young person, is that out of sight, out of mind is the best way to save money. If you don't know it's there, that's best, right? Like just if you can't see it, then you won't spend it. If you don't have access to it, then you won't spend it. So best way to save money is to get it out of your hands and put it into investments, or put it in the hands of people who are going to hold you accountable towards your financial goals too. So those are my advice on money. Get an emergency fund set up, get all your debt paid off, and then start saving for long-term future investments. That way you can set yourself up for future wealth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's kind of best practices with money. Have a secondary debit card so that you can track your expenses. And it's kind of like the whole thing with the schedule. If you don't budget your time, then you're not going to know where it all went. If you don't budget your money, then you're not going to know where it all went. So there's plenty of apps out there with free softwares that you can do to track your money, track your expenses. My personal favorite is Monarch, Monarch Money. And that's one of my personal favorites. Also, Dave Ramsey has a pretty good plan with the EveryDollar app. So if you don't have a written budget and plan where your money goes, then you don't know where it's going to go. So that's why it's always important to have a budget. So that's that. Any questions on that? Okay, cool, cool. All right, well, the rest of the workshop is just gonna be phone time, so we have about 25 minutes, we've about 20 minutes or so. Before the end of the workshop, so we have about 20 minutes to call. So if you want to pull out